in a car, but I was kind of a rounder, so my brother had he had several cars. He had the 31 Ford, Model A Ford, and he had a 57 Chevy, and he had a 61 white convertible, and that's the car that I took out when he wasn't around. Drove. Till a friend of mine took a picture of me driving it and blackmailed me, and then that was over with. So, but I liked that. I liked being free. I loved riding a bicycle. I'd ride a bicycle anywhere, anytime, all the time.
Sounds like your mommy. My mommy, not
Yeah.
your mom. I don't know. Your mom never rode bicycles.
I rode them everywhere. I wished I had never stopped.
I'm the only kid that doesn't ride a bike in our family.
Who?
Me. I just stopped one day. I don't think I've been on a bike since I was like 12.
It's a great thing to do. I got really back into it when I was in college again. So college I really enjoyed. I had a lot of fun in college. Too much fun. I didn't take it seriously enough, but I made up for it when I got my master's. I had a 4.0 when I got my master's. Huh?
Evidently that's also hereditary.
Yeah. College was a pretty interesting experience. I guess go back to that question about the importance, because I think I can share it.
The most significant thing that happened in your youth?
Yes,
Good
the
night.
most. Good night, Chris Bowman.
Good night.
That Grandpa.
Have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
The most significant thing probably was I got pregnant when I was 15, and
Mom, you're looking around the room like it's just.
does he know? Okay, all right. I thought he did. So, and I didn't tell anybody, and I didn't show. So I kind of went through almost the whole pregnancy without hardly anybody knowing. In fact, I was at my brother's house while in labor, and he did not know it. Ever. In fact, until you came into my life, until Michelle came into my life. It was a lonely time though, because I was scared, and people today, it seems like they take it so easy when people get pregnant, but back then it was a very difficult thing, very difficult. And I got a lot of, when I finally had her, I got told that I was a horrible person for giving her up for adoption. I got told I was a horrible person for not aborting her. I got told I was a horrible person, that I should go back and find her. And I was just a kid. I had no business raising a child. She had such a great life, and my life would have been okay, because my parents would have backed me, but I was immature. I wasn't ready to be a parent, and so my parents were hoping I'd have her over Christmas, which I didn't do. I had her in January, and I had her. I was out of school for 2 days, and I went back to school. So
How far along were you when you let your parents know?
I didn't let them know. They figured it out. My mother used to mark my cycles on the calendar. So I don't know why they didn't ask sooner,
Right.
but I think they were afraid to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I ever told you this part. My dad did offer to give me these hormone pills to see if it would bring a period on, is what he told me. And I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to talk about it. So they didn't really have any choices, because I just didn't give them a choice.
And what was their reaction then when they finally figured it out?
Well, my mom was asked to be on the church board, and she refused, because she thought that she had done wrong by me getting pregnant. And they were, all in all, they weren't horrible about it. I mean, they could have been, I think they were in shock. I don't think they knew what to do. But my dad wanted to kill Tom, and
Did Tom stick around through the pregnancy, or
he didn't have a choice. I didn't even give him I mean, I didn't give anybody a chance.
I mean, did he?
I think he would have liked to have, but my dad threatened to kill him. So, you know, I don't think he.
So no.
So no, and it wasn't a matter of whether he wanted to or not. He wasn't given the choice to stick around.
So, but you
So.
do think he would have stayed if your dad had?
I don't think
threatened
he
it?
would have married me, but I think he would have.
I mean, not even married.
Tried.
Just,
Oh,
just
yeah, I think
stayed
so.
and supported.
Yeah, because after she was born, I ran into him and we talked for quite a while. And I remember he asked me what I named her, which was Melissa Ann, and I can remember him saying that was a beautiful name. And he wrote it down, put it in his billfold, and I honestly don't remember that we talked that much after that, because I know my dad was just. We were afraid of my dad, and my dad was just the mildest manner. I think he wouldn't have done. He actually did take a gun out. It had nothing in it, but he took a gun out and threatened him, and it was not good. So, my dad was upset, very upset. And I'm trying to think of how old. Let's see, I was married to Chris, and we lived out in Fayette, and Tom called me one time. And his sister, well, I knew his sister. So his sister called my mom and said she was a friend of hers, and she got my phone number for Tom, and he called me and said that he really wanted to find her, that he'd had no children, and I told him the only thing I could give Michelle was her privacy, and I said, if she doesn't want to be found, please don't do that to her, you know. And then that's the last I ever heard of him, until I put her in touch with the family. He's a nice guy. He was a nice person. So I think he would have tried to do as much right as he could have. And if he had moved on and moved down, I think he lived in Alabama, maybe, or Arkansas. I think it was Alabama.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know he ended up in like the Carbondale area is where he died.
Okay. Well, when he called me, I think he lived in Alabama. And I think he would have definitely been in touch with your mom if he were still alive today. So, but the 70s were a very hard time to be pregnant and unmarried. And in fact, I found out later years that I had a friend who got on a plane and went to Chicago and had what they called a back alley abortion, and that's where somebody went in and did damage to her. She couldn't have children after that, so she didn't feel like she had choices either.
So, why did you choose to give birth instead of abort when you were so young?
I don't know. I can't really tell you that I don't think I even thought I had a choice. I mean, it wasn't like, to be honest, I don't even know if I knew about abortion.
Yeah.
I was not extremely, I wasn't educated in the right way like they are today. I mean, I hope they're doing a better job in schools and letting children know really, you know, what it means to have sex and what it means to have relationships, and because we didn't have that kind of information. And I don't know that I even really knew about abortions that much. So I don't think it was a choice for me. I just thought I was supposed to have, I was kind of dumb, I guess, in a way. I don't mean dumb like dumb, but
Almost naive.
Naive is a good way to put it. Yeah, it's really kind of funny because when I went to college, I thought I was this bad person, because I had done this. And then I learned about college girls and I went, whoa, I know nothing.
As it turns out, not so much.
Not so much. Exactly. But I carried her in my heart all those years, and every time her birthday came around, I was a wreck. Every time. January 10th would roll around and I'd be in tears. And I couldn't tell anybody why. I didn't tell anybody.
Thanks for keeping her. I like her.
Yeah, she's pretty good, ain't she?
all do.
Sometimes.
What a blessing I got, too. Gee whiz. I never, ever expected this to happen. I don't know if you know that part of the story, but she's born in a home for unwed mothers. It was a closed adoption. So I just assumed, I didn't even think to look for her.
Well, she is stubborn when it comes to finding something. If she
I know.
wants to find it, well, she's going to find it.
It was kind of ironic, though. I think we started actually thinking about it at the same time. Because I went to Idaho and read that book, The Girls Who Went Away. And Chris kept asking me, why are you reading that book? You're crying all the time. I said, I have to read this book because it was really about the very thing. Now, these girls had much more extreme situations because they were not with their families at all, and they were called booth babies. And it was a closed adoption. And I was told, I mean, the day that I signed her away, I was told I would never, ever be able to know who she was. I had a little ring I wanted her to be given, and they said they didn't even think they could do that. I told them to keep it just in case, and I just assumed I'd never meet her. Ever.
And they weren't even honest, they weren't honest with you either at the hospital.
Not 100%, that's for sure. And I'm pretty sure I signed you away under drugged conditions. I was still on painkillers, and I didn't even remember, like, the paper. I remember the paper being blurry. There's little things I remember, and I remember her saying, so are you going to sign this paper? And I go, well, I don't know. I don't know if I should. And within, a very short time, I was signing the paper.
Right, because you went home the next day, right?
I did.
So within 24 hours of giving birth, you had signed everything and been whisked away, and it was over with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did get to see her, though. She's pretty cute. They took me to a window, and they raised the window shade and held her up. I remembered the dark hair.
Plenty of that.
And I remember my mom went with me, but my dad couldn't do it. But my mom went down there and with me. So, and she did ask me if I wanted to change my mind. But I felt so ashamed and so like I had really done something to everybody, so felt like I had no choice.
Yeah.
That I remember having a choice on.
So, where do you think you would be today if you didn't give her up for adoption and kept her? Like if you kept her at home?
That's a very good question. I don't know that I'd be married to Chris, but I still think I'd be a teacher. I still think I'd be strong. I think it would have taken a lot longer to get there. I don't think I would have, but I think that I would have gotten my foothold. I would have gotten my anchor eventually, but I don't think it would have happened for years. Because honestly, after I had Jess, her brother, I was 29 when I had him, and I can remember I was like 31, and I felt like I had finally grown up. It took me that long to feel like I had really matured, and but I think that I still would have had her. I don't know if I would have had Jess.
It's really hard to say.
Just because I don't know that I would have ever met Chris, or my life would have been different that way.
Just off topic, is Chris Jess's dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did it right one time.
Well, I didn't know.
No, that's
if
right.
You married him after.
No,
After.
and that was difficult too. Was
That is.
telling Chris. I told Chris before we got married because I didn't want him to.
Those are two polar opposite people.
Chris and his dad.
Yeah.
Not as
Or
much as you would think, though.
Jess and Chris.
Yeah, Chris and Jess. Not as much as you would think. In a lot of ways, yes, but there are some things he's very much like his dad on. You have to ask Jen; she can tell you.
I'm just thinking the two things. The first time I met Jess, he tackled me.
I remember that.
Caught me off a blind.
You go, and I
blind
remember
side.
your words. You go, I don't know what to do.
And then the first time I met him, he shook my hand and said hi.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, these are two different people. It's a weird family.
they are very different, but they have high respect for one another. So, but yeah, I don't. If it were today, I think she would. I don't know if I would have been a single mom all my life. I probably would have eventually gotten married. But I did lose touch with Tom. I don't know where Tom actually moved to.
He had a pretty complicated life.
He did. He really did. I think God was looking after both of us in that
Mhm.
way.
Very much.